Hello everyone, Tina here. I hope your day is going wonderful. Thank you so much for joining me. Well, today we are going to create a project for Papertrey Ink, and we're using several new items that I think you guys are going to love. I know masculine cards are a little bit hard for all of us, but these stamps and dies make it super easy. These are part of the latest release over at Papertrey Ink. So we're going to jump in. Today we are going to be using a super fun stamp set. This is called Special Guy. There are two parts to the stamp set. They're great on their own, but they're even greater when you pair them with this die set. Now this die set is called the Baseball Tee, and I have to tell you, I love it. All of these images and sentiments will fit inside the t-shirt, which I thought was pretty fabulous. So we'll be using this today for our project, and there is also a coordinating die that will die cut out the images in your stamp sets with a Special Guy stamp. So we'll be using these, and then we'll also be using the Baseball Tee. The Baseball Tee also has a pocket. It comes, let me show you. I already separated it, but there's your t-shirt. So if you want to create a white t-shirt, you very well could. But you have this piece, and that creates the two-tone that makes it look like a baseball t-shirt. And I love that that's separated. They've also included a hanger, and there's a wood grain embossed detail on that hanger. And then there's also the top part of the hanger here, along with the little pocket. So I'm excited to share these cards and projects with you. We're going to make an A2 size card because this will fit in an A2 size card, but we're also going to be creating a shaped card. So I'm going to create two cards today. Also part of the new release this month, we're going to be using this die set, and I love dies like this because you can use them for anything, and I love layering. This die set here is called Delicately Woven, and it will create a real pretty woven pattern. And you can also add color to your woven pattern with these will cut out the thin lines that you can crisscross to create a multi-toned element for your projects. And again, this one's called the Delicately Woven die. We'll be using this for our project as well, along with a stencil set. This stencil set is a two-piece set. You can layer them together, or that you can use them on their own. This is called the Brick Wall Stencils, and I'm going to use this for my background as well. And all of these are part of the brand new release. Okay, we are going to jump in and start our first project. So to do that, we need a t-shirt. Let's set these aside, and we are going to grab some cardstock. For my first card, we're going to create an A2 card, and I want to create a blue and white baseball tee. So we are going to take this layer, and there's embossed detail on here around the elbow of the sleeves, along with the cuff of the sleeves, and also the neckline. There's embossed detail, which just makes it really fabulous. I'm going to die cut out one with our colored cardstock. This is Enchanted Evening. It's a real pretty dark blue. And then I'm also going to take the base of the t-shirt and die cut that out with white cardstock. I'm going to save these elements for my second project, but we will use those hangers because I thought that hanger, I thought it was really cute. So I'm going to run these through my die cut machine, and I will be right back. Okay, while I was doing my die cutting, I also took a piece of fun foam, and I die cut that out because I like dimension, and I think this is going to be a great way to add dimension to our tee. So we've got to remove the little neck pieces, but this is our t-shirt base, and then this is the top piece. I'm going to flip over the top arm area, and then we're going to add a little bit of glue. And then I'm going to add this piece to my fun foam. Good deal. Once we have my fun foam adhere, and this is just regular white foam, I'm going to go ahead and flip it around, add some more glue behind, and then we are going to adhere that to our white cardstock. Don't you love this tea? I actually have one of these and I like it a lot. Again, this is called the baseball tea. Okay, so we have a little bit of dimension. It's kind of hard to tell, but I just love that. Now I'm going to bring in my stamping positioner. Okay, now I'm using my Misty because this way I can restamp if I don't get a great impression. For my sentiment for this card, I'm going to use For a Great Man. I think that's going to work out. I'm going to pick it up with the lid of my stamping positioner. And then I'm going to stamp with my True Black ink. Wonderful. Okay, after we have this done, I'm going to go ahead and take this out of my Misty. And we're going to do a little bit more stamping. My goal is to kind of create a card with an outdoor theme. So I'm going to use the mat, and you can mix and match if you want. Your packaging will actually have an inspirational guide on it, but I'm going to mix it up a little bit. I'm going to use the boat oars, and I'm also going to use the little mountain area here. I think that's going to give me the outdoorsy look that I'm looking for. Before we stamp those though, I do want to do a little bit of ink blending on the bottom. I want to zoom in, and to do the ink blending, I'm going to grab my craft mat here, and I'm going to be using the dark indigo ink, and I just want a little color to fade up, and so I'm going to use my finger dauber for that. And I'm going to add a real heavy amount of color right on the bottom. And there's embossed detail on the bottom of this also, which I think is pretty neat. Okay, after we have our bottom faded out, I'm going to stamp our mountain first. So I'm going to ink up my mountain, and this is ripe avocado. I'm going to center it, and we'll just stamp it on our t-shirt here. Okay, now we're going to stamp the oars. I don't want to stamp my oars directly on here. I'm going to stamp them on some white cardstock, and I want some brown oars, so I'm going to use dark chocolate ink. So I'll ink these up. And I'll stamp them on some white cardstock. There is a coordinating die for this. So I'll just put these back. And then I'm going to take the oars, and we are going to line them up. And we'll tape them down and run this through our die cut machine. I went ahead and die cut some foam adhesive. This has release paper on the top and back. I'm going to go ahead and pop up our oars for a little bit of dimension. And then I'll remove the release paper. And then I'm going to add this right below the mountain area. Kind of an outdoors man kind of a theme. Okay, now once we have our shirt done, we are going to work on our background. So I'm going to zoom back out. And for our background, I need some white cardstock. And I'm going to take our delicately woven die. Now I'm not going to use the detail pieces, I'm just going to use this. I'm going to die cut it out twice with white cardstock. Okay, I went ahead and punched out all those pieces. I love the way this looks. It just looks like fabric. If you were to use some of the classic craft, I think that would look like burlap. I just love the way this looks. So keeping it white, I'm going to set these aside. And then we are going to take the brick wall stencil set. And I took a Sharpie and numbered them for layering. I put 1 and 2. And so we're going to take some white cardstock, and I'm going to add my number. There is no number 1 or number 2 layer. You can mix and match however you prefer. But for me, this was just easier. I already have pixie spray behind my stencil. Pixie spray is like a light tack adhesive, so it sticks to your paper and it doesn't move. It's kind of really nice stuff. Now, I'm going to do a little bit of stenciling, but I just want to kind of go at an angle, maybe not all the way up. I'm going to go maybe in this corner area. We are going to use Scarlet Jewel ink, and I'm going to just use a finger dauber because I have a little more control over it. Scarlet Jewel is like a deep red, like a burgundy almost, and I'm just going to kind of trail it. I don't want a full background. I kind of want it organic, just like this. And so this is actually an alcohol prep pad, and it helps clean the stencils pretty good. Although just a warning, it does go through on your paper. You can see it kind of turned a little pink here. But alcohol prep pads work good for cleaning your stencils. Okay, I'm going to remove it. And then we have our first layer. See, this looks great just the way this is, but I'm going to add the second layer. So after we have our second brick wall stencil, for this one I'm going to use that dark chocolate ink, and we'll just finish it up here. And again, I don't want a full background. I just want to add a little bit of, because this is a pretty big t-shirt, so you can see just a little bit of area is going to show. Okay, I think that's going to work out just fine. Such a pretty stencil. One of my alcohol wipes, and just go over it real fast. Okay, then we can remove this. See, it keeps it kind of, cleans it up really well. And I just love the way this looks. Okay, after we have our background done, I'm going to take my delicate woven, and I die cut out 2 because I thought maybe we could overlap a little bit. I know I want it in this corner. So to do this, I'm going to use my tape runner. And if you want to use your glue, you could very well use your glue also. I think depending on what tape runner you use, you can get away with using your tape runner. But I'm going to take this and position it at an angle. And I think that's going to work out great there. It's kind of hard to see. There we go. Just because I want some texture in the background. And for this one, I want to add a little bit overlapping over here. So I won't use the entire piece. Okay. We have some texture in there. I'm going to use my scissors, and we'll flip it around and just trim off the excess. I have a little bit left over. I might want to do this corner over here. So I'm going to add a little more adhesive and just adhere it to this corner also. I'm going to flip this panel. This is a card front panel, so it's 4 1/4 by 5.5 inches. I'm going to flip this around, add some adhesive behind here, and then we're going to put this on an A2 size card base. And then I'm going to take my baseball tee. I'm going to flip this around, and I'm going to add some foam circles behind here. We're going to pop it up and put it on our card base. And then that finishes off card number 1. Kind of hard to see the texture in there, but that is card number 1. I'm going to go ahead and do a little bit more die cutting for my next project. Next project, what we're going to do is take a sheet of white cardstock, and then I'm going to fold it in half, and then I'm just going to reinforce it with my bone folder. Okay, now what we're going to do to make a shaped card, it's very easy. I'm going to take our baseball tee die. The cardstock will open to the right, and then you're going to take your baseball tee, the main die, line it up on the shoulder here, and then we'll tape it down. You want that die to be overhanging on the fold line. Let me show you. Because what it's going to do is going to create a side folding card. You see how it's just barely overlapping here? That's important because that's what's going to make this a shaped card. I'm going to run this through my die cutting machine, and then this is what we have. Okay, you can punch out the piece here. We won't need that. But you see how we cut the score line here? So this way, when you open the card, hopefully you don't need that piece either. We have a shaped card now. How neat is that? And it's like the perfect size. So once we have our basic t-shirt shape, we need to have that extra piece. I'm going to take this piece and die cut this out. Okay, I went ahead and die cut and added fun foam behind the top portion of my t-shirt. I'm using the Scarlet Jewel cardstock for this card. And then I thought instead of using white, we would use this really pretty soft stone cardstock. It's kind of hard, but hard to tell the difference, but it's a real soft gray. I'm going to go ahead and put this directly on my card base, and I'll use my tape runner for that. Just add it. You can go different colors of t-shirts, and that's the fun part. And then I'm going to add some glue behind the top portion of my t-shirt. And again, this is Scarlet Jewel cardstock. And then we'll add this to our soft stone cardstock. I like these colors. So now we have a little bit of dimension, you see here. It's not too bulky for a card base, but you can open it up and write your message on the inside, which is really nice. I need to stamp my sentiment, so to do that, I'm going to use my stamping positioner. In our special guy stamp set, we are going to take the guitar here, and there's a gap you can see, which is great because that's where you can stamp your sentiment. So I'm going to add the guitar in the center. I'll pick it up with the lid of my Misty, and I'm going to use my true, well, what color should, yeah, true black ink for my guitar. Okay, stamped lovely. I'm going to go ahead and clean off my stamp. And then we are going to go ahead and take the U Rock. I'm inking up the U Rock with the Scarlet Jewel ink. And I think we might do a little ink blending on the bottom. We'll see. And I think I want to do green for that little guitar piece. So I'm going to use my ripe avocado. think I like these colors together, and we'll stamp that. And it's a little dark, but that's okay because I have a plan. So that's all the stamping that we're going to do. I'm going to go ahead and put that back. Now let's just leave it like this. Okay, let's die cut out a hanger. So I love the wood hanger, and then it has the top piece. So I'm going to die cut out the hanger with Classic Craft. Now to build the hanger, it's very simple. You just add a little bit of glue. And then I'm going to go ahead and take my tweezers and adhere the top portion of our hanger. Kind of press it down. Okay, so there is our hanger. Now I do want to add a little bit of shading to the hanger. So I'm going to use my finger dauber with the dark chocolate ink and just add a little. You're not going to be able to see this, but I do want to add a little bit to the top, because it really does intensify that wood grain that's on the hanger. And again, I'm not too worried about the sides because you won't be able to see them. Now I'm going to take my hanger, open up my card, and I'm going to add the hanger on the inside, like so. I'm going to flip this around, and I'm going to add a little bit of glue behind here. We're going to add the hanger that's on the inside, and then I'm going to add a little bit of glue behind the neck, just so it's stationary. Since we do have foam adhesive there, I want it to kind of lay flat. So I'm going to press that down. So we have a shirt that's on the hanger. This would make an adorable tag for a card too, I think. Okay, now let's grab our other card that we made. And I like to add bells and whistles. So men, it's a little bit tough to add bells and whistles too, but I do want to add a little bit of sparkle. I think I'm going to use some unicorn stickles for that green area on the guitar. I think it's going to create a really jazzy look. The unicorn will really pick up that color behind, any kind of dark color behind it, but I think it's just going to add a lot of pizzazz. Go up here on the top of the guitar too. You can see it just changes that green. Kind of gives it a little iridescent look. Okay, and then for this one, I'm going to just go over the lines on the oars, right down the middle. And for this card, I do want to take a couple Copic markers, some browns, and I'm going to fill in the man. Let me see. I'm going to take my E15 real quick and go over the M, the A, and the N. Add a little bit more brown so you can balance out those oars that are down here. Kind of pull your eyes up. And then I'm going to do a little bit of a gradient with my E79. Okay, and then that finishes my card projects today for Papertrey Ink. I hope you enjoyed them. Such a fun die set, perfect for masculine cards. Everything will be listed below if you guys want to check it out. Have a wonderful day, and we will see you soon.